Hello, White. Welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my podcast, my live stream, my YouTube channel. This is Jacob Cass, 2024. Gonna do Monday Night Raw. Alright, just want to make sure that this is up and running so y'all can hear my commentary. You can hear what I have to say. Just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Please subscribe to my channel. Enjoy this video. This will be about an hour and 20 minutes. We're going to talk about WWE Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about what happened on the show. My video is sponsored by PlayStation. I got more on the way, so hit that like button. Leave a comment. Enjoy this video. There's a lot to talk about this. If we talk about Monday Night Raw. Now I just want you guys to know that my YouTube channel is sponsored by Chris Smooth, The Rad Brad, Real Gamer, and some other podcasters like JD from New York, Fightful Pro Wrestling, Wrestling Inc., Salamonster Sound Off. We got Shanti Zat and Comment. Alright, so we will talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was a fine show. Now, this was the go-home show for WrestlePalooza, the pay-per-view that this Saturday, their first pay-per-view on ESPN. It will be on the same night, it's the same day at AEW, All In. I think it's All In, or is it All Out? Now, we will talk about some news and rumors in the wrestling community, what's going on in the wrestling world right now. We got the road to AEW All Out, and we got WrestlePalooza. There are some news and rumors in the wrestling world right now. I think tomorrow I will do more. I think I'll play more 2K17, NBA My Career, and then I'm going to start NBA 2K26, My Career, start that My Career. So I can start that walkthrough, so I can show you all that game that I just bought. I finally got it. But anyway, let's talk about wrestling first. The prediction for AEW All Out, the main event with Heyman, Adam Page. Heyman, Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. That's for All Out, and a lights out steel cage match. Is that the match for the pay-per-view? It looks like it. We also got a tag team match with Ace and Christian against, I think, FTR. Now, this is not the go-home show, so I think I'll do my predictions on Friday, so I can talk about these pay-per-views. Now, Monday Night Raw was alright. It was a fine show. There was some good matches. They did progress some storylines here. I mean, the show opened up with John Cena. As usual, John Cena opened up the show. No Brock Lesnar. John's not going to be on SmackDown this week because he already had his final SmackDown show. Brock's going to be on the show, but what's he going to do? We know Cody Rhodes is going to be on the show on SmackDown. John Cena came out to open the show. He talked about John Cena. He talked about Brock Lesnar. To hype up their match this Saturday. One last time between Cena and Lesnar. Should be an okay match. Not sure who's going to win. But should be fine. I'm curious what happens after. Yeah, so that was the opener. We had a pretty good match with Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria. Who won this match? I think it said Lyra defeated Roxanne, and then she got jumped by Roxanne and Raquel, and then Bayley returned to save Lyra. They're still teasing something with Bayley. She might turn heel or something. Bayley is a hugger again. Is he really being the babyface? He come back to the hugger Bayley? She might, we just don't know. But after that, we got we got Penta defeating Kofi Kingston, and then he escaped a New Day beatdown where he beat up all the New Day, beat up Grayson Waller. I'm not sure about like Grayson Waller with the New Day, but Austin Theory still hurt, and New Day's not doing anything. So they were Grayson and Waller. They're pretty much jobbers. They're acting like losers. How many times have we seen Kofi and Xavier were pinned every week? Grayson Waller, none of us scrub. But that's the best they can do for him. I think the best thing on this show was the 20-minute segment with CM Punk and AJ Lee face off with Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. This segment lasted more than 20 minutes. That was the highlight of the show. That's the bigger storyline and the bigger interest. It's the tag team match, and it will. I think it will main event WrestlePalooza. This is a big storyline between Punk and Rollins. Now we add the wives involved with Becky and AJ. After the great segment and a pretty good brawl, the heels stand tall, by the way. Becky and Seth stood tall, and as he tricked Punk and AJ, Becky got the manhandle slam on AJ, and then she smashed Punk. After that great segment, we had a backstage segment with Becky yells at Lyra, clearly setting up for. Bayley yelled at Lyra, setting up her to turn heel. Clearly. We got a Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee. Okay, Matt. Americano outsmarted Dragon Lee. He won. I can't wait till Chad Gable comes back. We haven't seen the Creed brothers or Ivy Nile. We know that Ludwig Kaiser dressing up as Grande Americano. He helped Dominic win the AAA Mega Champion on Friday. Now Dominic's a double champion. We actually had a backstage segment with Dominic and Rusev, where Rusev is, it looks like they're setting up Dominic and Rusev for the Intercontinental title. And they're teasing something with him and Finn Balor. Balor being jealous of Dominic's success. After that, we got Stephanie Balor defeating Kairi Sane, a pretty good match, though very good. After that, Asuka confronts Stephanie and Io got involved in the middle of them. Clearly they're setting up something. We know that Io and Stephanie Balor to see who's gonna be the new WWE Women's World Champion. I think Io and Stephanie at WrestlePalooza. Should be a good match. I'm looking forward to it. And then the main event was LA Knight and Jimmy Uso versus The Vision, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed in a very good match. That was a great match. Crowd loved it. This is awesome. Crowd was awesome tonight.
No, I guess I actually like that a lot.
Now let me show y'all some of the podcasters on here. Actually, wait. Hold on. I wanted to talk about the news and rumors. I think I already talked. Wait, I think I talked about this. I'm not sure if I did. Hold on. I think I know Andrade got released. Andrade had been released from the company. If we know that WWE confirmed that they're going to be in Saudi Arabia. Wait, I think I showed this already. I think I did. Pretty sure I showed this already.
If you're an illegal alien,
yeah, I think I already talked about this.
This runway is your future because you're headed home.
This one I don't think I showed. The release of Andrade.
And I tell you, when Andrade first joined the main roster, I was very excited to see what was going to happen because of his great run during the Black and Gold era in NXT. That Zelina Vega and Andrade act was money. Realistically, it was a main event money act if they knew how to book him properly. He made it to the main roster, and Vince McMahon and that administration took Zelina Vega away from Andrade, which we all knew at that point was a mistake. The guy didn't really speak fluent English. And the one thing that you need On top of everything else that Vince McMahon looks for is the promo. If you can't speak, if you can't sell via your microphone skills, you're not going to make the administration money. And if they're not making money off you, they're not going to book you. Andrade was let go from WWE, eventually joined AEW. Again, another exciting move for a very young upstart AEW because they are inheriting WWE's failures.
It's not Andrade's fault. If you're gonna blame him while he was fired, you better blame WWE. He had a lot of potential, 2 things in WWE, 1 in AEW, and it resulted in absolutely nothing for the super talent Andrade. So what happened? Sources say he was fired due to the wellness policy violation, but that is all.
Vince let Andrade down after what Triple H did to make him into a realistic main event guy. He joins Tony Khan, looks like $1 million. He's got Vicky Guerrero by his side, a mouthpiece. It looked like early on they were going to fix the mistake that WWE did not fix, or ruined, I should say. They made the corrections to the mistakes that WWE made with Andrade literally on night 1. It never materialized into anything. We heard about stories of Andrade and Sammy Guevara and backstage incidences with Andrade. And then AEW Creative just didn't seem to know how to book him either. And it became more of the same in AEW as it was in his previous stint in WWE. He leaves AEW to join WWE again, and everybody gets excited all over again because maybe they're going to correct the mistakes that they made not the first time, but the second chances surrounding him. He has not been backstage at SmackDown as of late either.
Yeah.
Now, Bodyslam.net put it on Fightful's radar that he was moved to the alumni section very early in this weekend, and that he could have been done with the company with such a move being made. One WWE source indicated that the departure had been in the works for at least a week, and that this did affect immediate creative plans after SummerSlam, which was his last appearance. That big ladder match that happened at SummerSlam that he and Rey Fenix were definitely a part of. There was a rumor that it was supposed to be Andrade and Rey Fenix versus the Wyatts at Clash in Paris, and that got changed because of this situation to the Wyatts versus the Street Profits. There was another rumor, how factual it is, I don't know, that Andrade and Rey Fenix were supposed to win the tag team championships from the YM6 at Clash in Paris, as there were materials and promos and posters all ready to go for that match to take place at Clash in Paris Labor Day weekend. Andrade had departed AEW on less than ideal terms in December of 2023. AEW wanted to retain Andrade and offered him a long-term contract extension that they believed he had agreed to. However, shortly before his last match with Miro, AEW sources indicated that he informed them he wouldn't be signing an extension, which affected their creative plans moving forward. How much of that affected AEW creative plans moving forward? Nobody knows. Is it something that would have been so substantial that it ruined months of television? Probably not. That's just something, honestly, I just think that's something that gets thrown in there to make AEW look like they have a long-term plan, which most of the time they don't. So I don't think they had a long-term plan for either Miro or Andrade, and I think that's actually fucking bullshit. AEW sources we spoke to had no idea Andrade had departed WWE this weekend. We were told that there is no bridge that is truly burned in AEW. Oh my God, man. Have you ever heard such a bigger crock of shit? Really? There's no bridge that is truly burned in AEW. Yes, that's why everybody that mentions CM Punk or Cody Rhodes or has befriended CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, they are fucking buried underneath Guantanamo Bay. Never to be seen again. Never to see the light of day again. Sure thing, bro. Sure thing. Give me a fucking break with this nonsense. As long as nothing heinous is tied to a departure, a return wouldn't be impossible. Despite that situation, Tony Khan put over Andrade heavily at the World's End post-show. That year he did wrestle Rusev or Miro. I was there in the building. It was a very good match. But you kind of felt like it was the last match for Andrade there. And said that AEW and Andrade departed on good terms. Then there came a Sports Illustrated update that followed Feifels. Sources indicate to the takedown on Sports Illustrated that Andrade was effectively released from the company and that the departure was not a mutual decision. He had not been backstage at TV tapings for nearly a month, and multiple talent were being told Saturday afternoon that Andrade, 35 years old, still very young, had been let go by the company. It is not, or it is unknown, if Andrade also requested his release as he did back in 2021. It was also noted that the release was not related to budget cuts, as has been the case for multiple WWE departures over the past couple of years. Now, this was then. They said the exact nature of the release, however, is not entirely clear at this time, and this was yesterday afternoon. It was emphasized that WWE doesn't typically offer contracts that are a year and a half long. Andrade had a successful run in NXT from 2015 to 2018, winning the NXT Championship in a run that included a memorable title match against Johnny Gargano at TakeOver Philadelphia, one of the greatest WWE matches ever, and maybe one of the best NXT Black and Gold matches of all time. He would go on to win the United States Championship during that time, but would depart the company in 2021 after requesting his release. He would then jump ship to AEW, where he would have a rocky tenure due to backstage tensions and injuries. His AEW contract expired at the end of 2023, and he would return to WWE in January of 2024 at the Royal Rumble. Andrade didn't get much traction on camera during his second WWE run, winning the WWE Speed Championship, as if that really means anything, before having a best-of-7 series with Carmelo Hayes. He spent much of 2025 teaming with Rey Fenix, with his last match happening at SummerSlam in that 6-team ladder match. I'll get back to that in a second on what they had him doing, which obviously could have easily factored into why he just became disinterested in WWE. The takedown on Sports Illustrated reached out to WWE for comment regarding this situation, but had not at that time yesterday afternoon received a formal response. We will continue to have more details as they become available, says Sports Illustrated. Dave Meltzer updated everybody this morning, and he spoke on the Wrestling Observer Radio, and he provided more details on the situation. He says, and I quote, "I don't know the whole story, but I do know it was a discipline." Followed up on Dave Meltzer's report. Sports Illustrated, as of 5 hours ago, said this. Multiple sources indicate to Sports Illustrated that Andrade had at least one wellness policy violation during his most recent WWE run. But Dave Meltzer said it wasn't drug-related. For our stories, I don't think that he put a lot of effort into those.
Alright, well, I don't want to take too much time on it. Might will go back to my review. Hold on. Alright. Might will show the other podcasters.
I know what her gimmick is.
Let me show you guys on WhatsApp a Fightful. New World start time. The show started at 7 o'clock. It went up for 9:40.
You know they're getting offered that booking. The Dudley Boys, I believe this Bound for Glory was set to be like their last hurrah. Take off the boots, put them in the ring, all that stuff, and then over the course of the next year, there's going to be a lot of praise for Saudi Mania. Maybe one more. You know Kane's going to be there. Kane's going to be doing that DDP yoga to such an extreme degree over the next year and a half, buddy. He is going to be one flexible son of a bitch.
Becky takes out AJ Lee. LA Knight's heel turn coming. We could see Knight turn heel. We just don't know. Hold on. See Denise and Shanti.
They're way better. Like, I was like, her. I'm not kidding. I'm like, her English has improved significantly.
You like that? with Charlotte Flair, because he was at that time, that we knew of. And he went back to WWE, and nothing happened. He wasn't being booked anywhere. He wasn't really on the show. And mind you, he's on SmackDown, and SmackDown was a good 3 hours for a good period of time, and he wasn't on the show. He had a couple of backstage segments here and there, and nothing happened. And I just went back to, you know what? WWE doesn't know how to book Latinos. It never happens. I don't know. So I was just more so thinking that it was just people not knowing how to have somebody like Andrade on the show, right? But then you see other people who are starting to get some more limelight and all of that. So I don't really know, Santi. Is this Andrade? Is this him just being in a spot where no one knows what to do with him? Or is it him? Is it something that we don't know is going on behind the scenes? I truly do not know.
I don't know either. You know, like I'm also in the same boat as pretty much everybody is. I'm just sort of waiting on the drip feed of information as to what led to this. I think the initial reports say failed wellness policy. I've heard things about him ghosting WWE. I don't want to make assumptions because I don't really know the real story. But like at first glance, from what I've heard, it seems like it was termination for cause. That's what it sounds
so like, what was it though? Like,
yeah,
you know, that's the part where we don't know, right? There's a bunch of rumors, but it does seem like I don't know. I get the vibe, I get the feeling that something went wrong. This wasn't just, hey, I'm not only unhappy, but maybe something went wrong. I don't know what that is. We'll find out. Maybe not. Thank you so much, Bob Ross Jr. We got Mictaro here, by the way. This is a big topic for Monday Night Raw. Maybe not a big topic. I guess it depends on how you see this. We got Mictaro here who says, LA Knight heel turn instead of Jey Uso. What's Triple H cooking? Here's the thing. I don't necessarily know that this was a heel turn from LA Knight. I don't think it was. I think this was literally him just getting back, getting some revenge on Jey Uso for Jey Uso taking him out last week. But we mentioned this main event, Santi. I gotta tell you, I was not into event at all. LA Knight and Jimmy Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, I thought felt so bland, except for like one awesome moment where I saw Braun Breaker do a kick-ass shoulder tackle because the camera angle was really cool. This did nothing for me at all. Still waters, man. But LA Knight, do you think he turned heel? Do you think he will turn heel? I know we speculated this a while back, but it seems like both guys, either Jay or LA Knight, one of them is about to make the shift.
I'm not convinced, mostly because we have War Games around the corner, and I think it's going to be a pretty classic WWE formula of, will they or won't they be able to coexist? And they're probably going to be on the same War Games team to go up against the Vision, right? Like, I think many of us are expecting that.
I thought War Games was going to be Team CM Punk versus Team Seth Rollins.
Well, let's not forget that before AJ Lee returned, CM Punk was part of this main event vortex that was never changing.
He was. You're right.
Seth Rollins and CM Punk, as far as I'm concerned, are just in a side quest, as they say. They're handling this mixed tag match thing, but they're both going to get added right back to this vortex of a main event. Seth Rollins getting added back to the Vision, and CM Punk getting added back to this. Don't forget that LA Knight and CM Punk also had a little bit of a beef going on there before LA Knight, before CM Punk and Seth Rollins separated to do the mixed tag match stuff. So I do think it is going to be Team CM Punk, Team Seth Rollins, but I think we're seeing what Team CM Punk is going to look like. I don't think it's a heel LA Knight. I don't think it's a heel Jey Uso. I think that we are going to have a feud between them until they eventually see eye to eye.
But if you could have one turn heel, which one would it be?
LA Knight. Like, Jey Uso, look, I'm not saying that Jey Uso can't play the heel role, because we saw it very well in the early days of the pandemic, the early days of the Bloodline. But right now, with how popular he is and how much merch the man sells and moves, I have a hard time envisioning it. That's all. I'm not saying that he can't play it. I just have a hard time seeing that. I think that there is more.
Santi, my content has already been flagged as inappropriate on Twitter. I'm just going to, for 43 years on this planet, I can't wait to tell my mom that I found another Chargers fan. She'll be happy to know there are two of you.
Let's go. We're such few and far between.
We got Nishi who says, did Tippy get hurt because of the moonsault?
We got No DQ. He's also doing his podcast. His podcast ends pretty quickly.
About 2 hours from where John Cena grew up. Cena made reference to the Simpsons living in Springfield, which is true. But there's several Springfields. That's the thing, though. But as far as giving up, and Stephanie, I screwed up, but he was kicked by Penta. Kofi attempted to take advantage of it, and they got me interested. If Cena wrestles in the Garden and in Boston, that would create a few more opportunities for Cena to wrestle Dominic. I still think there's a
ball over at Springfield. The return of age coming, Raw starting at 7 Eastern every week. But tonight was the final Raw before WrestlePalooza. Another week, another Raw with LA Knight losing in the main event. Lost track at this point of how many times that may. It's nice that he's in the main event, but he keeps losing all of these matches. And tonight, to change things up a little bit, they had him and Jimmy Uso as tag team partners. But it was another LA Knight Vision main event. And this is becoming just a recurring theme here on this show every single week. So Jimmy was his tag team partner this time. At least this time it was Jimmy who ate the pin and not LA Knight. I don't know how many more combinations of this that we can get. I really don't. Tonight it was LA Knight and Jimmy Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, but we've gotten so many different combinations, singles, tags. It's hard to keep track. It all just sort of runs together. It's like a blur after a while. But last week, Jey Uso dropped him with a spear. They've been really building these issues between Jey Uso and LA Knight. Tonight, LA Knight got his revenge on Jey Uso by dropping him with a BFT to end the show. LA Knight has no match at WrestlePalooza this weekend. Jey Uso does. Jey Uso and Jimmy are reuniting. They're going to be taking on who else? Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And I think it stands to reason that there's a decent chance anyway that we could end up seeing LA Knight on that show. So that story is continuing. We had John Cena on the show tonight. He is Raw exclusive now going forward until the end of this year. He didn't really do much. This was the last real hard sell, at least from Cena, because again, he's not supposed to be on SmackDown. So the last real hard sell for the main event coming up on Saturday between John Cena and Brock Lesnar. And we have yet to get the two of them in the ring together for any sort of back and forth on the microphone. What we've had is Brock Lesnar laying him out, ambushing him, dropping him with F5s. We had Brock on SmackDown Friday night. That segment turned out to be a complete waste of time. So Cena came out tonight, and Cena did what Cena does. He came out, and he gave the classic John Cena babyface rah-rah speech. And that is the last bit of build for our big main event of WrestlePalooza this weekend. CM Punk, AJ Lee, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, they're going to be having a mixed tag team match at WrestlePalooza. Really, if you think about attractions on that show, Cena, Lesnar, one last time, Brock's return to the ring, they're building that as one major attraction. The other big attraction is this match here. The return of AJ Lee to the ring for the first time in over 10 years. So we had all four of them in the ring tonight for one last face-off to build to that tag match. We had more drama on the show with Io Sky and Asuka as they continue to go back and forth with each other and just they're not on the same page. And Io, of course, is the one who has a big championship match coming up this weekend, not Asuka. Although Asuka wanted to be there. Asuka will not be there now. But we had Stephanie Vaquer on this show. She has been a ghost on Raw. And she not only was back on the show tonight, but she actually wrestled a match. She didn't wrestle a match at all in the month of August. We're already at the midway point roughly here, or actually exactly at the midway point here in the month of September. So it was nice to get Stephanie Vaquer back in the ring for what ended up being, honestly, a really competitive, good match with her and Kairi Sane. I would dare say the best match Kairi Sane has had since she came back to WWE. So that was actually one of the highlights of the show tonight. Bayley is back. No more videos. She was actually back on the show tonight, making the save for Lyra Valkyria. When I say Bayley was on the show tonight, the question really should be which one? The answer is all of them. And we also have a bit of news. Tomorrow night, NXT is back at Full Sail University. They're calling it NXT Homecoming. It's a bunch of old faces that are going to be on the show. Tyler Breeze is wrestling for the North American title. Carmelo Hayes is back on the show. He's going to be tagging with Trick Williams. But it's almost like the Avengers assemble for the women. Where on the show last week, they had Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton, and Stephanie McCare side by side by side. And they were supposed to wrestle Fatal Influence tomorrow night, right? It would be a fatal funeral for Fatal Influence. We learned earlier today, they had the NXT General Manager Ava tweet out that Tiffany Stratton is off the show. Tiffany Stratton is not medically cleared, which doesn't surprise me in the least. If you saw her match with Jade Cargill on SmackDown last week, and when she did that moonsault out of the ring and kind of over-rotated on the landing and she smacked the back of her head on the floor, instantly I thought, how is this woman not concussed? So they didn't say what the nature of the injury was. There's a pretty good chance that's what it is. Or maybe they're just holding her out for precautionary reasons, but she's off the show tomorrow. And so taking her place next to Rhea and Stephanie will be Lyra Valkyria, who herself is a former NXT Women's Champion, so it makes sense. So that's the little news update there. But we'll talk about this Raw show, which I enjoyed. I liked Raw this week. We'll talk about the whole show here.
Yeah, Raw was a lot better than SmackDown. SmackDown was boring. It sucked. Well, not Raw, it's better. There were good matches. There were good storylines.
This is your Raw Netflix review. It is Monday night. It's a serious, very long, 12-hour operation. And it went as well as can be expected, but by no means is she out of the woods yet. So I'm still trying to keep up with updates. I got my phone on here, just trying to figure out, what's going on and trying to stay on top of things. But it's just a very bad situation right now. So I've had that on my mind. So it was good to just take my mind off things for a couple of hours yesterday with the podcast. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. But thank you for all of the kind messages. I very much appreciate it. And I'll keep you guys. So that's how we started the show. Now the crowd, you could hear the crowd, and the crowd was already loudly chanting for John Cena. They were in Springfield, Massachusetts tonight. So I don't know how far West Newbury is from Springfield, but they were in his home state. Obviously, very pro John Cena crowd. They were ready for him to make his way. There you go. Cena pointed at a fan. That was it. Nobody came out. I was almost hoping they would do something similar to what they did on SmackDown when Sami Zayn came out. Maybe somebody else on Raw would come out. We would get, a Raw match. I don't fault them for not doing that because, God forbid, Cena gets hurt. That would be a disaster. So better to just play it safe at this point and just make sure he's healthy for the show on Saturday. I was hoping, though, that this segment would pack more punch than it did. It would have been nice to get something with Cena and Lesnar on the show together. I know Brock's promos are not exactly his strong suit. He's had a few gems over the years, but he's not John Cena on the mic. So if you have a promo battle, give a back and forth on the mic between Brock and John Cena, we know who's winning that. So maybe they just didn't want to go in that direction. I don't know. But it just feels like with the build to this match, over all these weeks, really since SummerSlam, since Brock came back, they have taken the path of least resistance. They've taken the simplest possible route that you could take, and they're just really building this match off the backs of their names. John Cena's a big star. Every John Cena match is, leading up to his last match, every John Cena match is supposed to be a big deal. Rock is back, and it's his first match in over 2 years, so the match sells itself. And to some extent, that's true, but it would have been nice to get a little bit more than just the bare bones. And that's what they gave us. They coasted along, and they gave us the bare bones. So there's really not much else to say about what was said here. Cena did what he could, to get the crowd amped up for the match on Sunday. And that's your main event. They went bare bones for the main event of this show. They also mentioned that Cena is going for his 100th PLE win with this match with Brock. He will not set the record. The record is The Undertaker. He's got 107. Cena doesn't have enough matches left. But he could get to 100 with a win over Brock this weekend. Yeah, phoning it in. I mean, that's what it is. They phoned in the build to this match. However, the match itself turns out on Saturday, and I actually think it could end up being a really good match, or maybe more of a spectacle than a match, is irrelevant. They phoned it in. That's exactly what they did. They phoned it in. I think the most ridiculous part was on Friday when Brock showed up. And the whole premise of the segment with R-Truth was, have you seen John? Where's John? And Truth was like, he's not here. I haven't seen him. When John Cena himself on the show 1 week earlier flat out announced, like, I'm done on SmackDown. I have no more SmackDowns left. You will not see me on SmackDown ever again. See if Brock show up on SmackDown and waste one of his own dates by asking where's John Cena. It's very silly. It's just very silly. And
yeah.
It is what it is.
It's kind of foolish, kind of stupid.
Now, Adam Pearce
having to show up on
was inside
SmackDown.
his office with Jey Uso and LA Knight. Knight was very upset with Jey. Raquel Rodriguez was out there. She tripped up Lyra early in the match. She went over and hugged Alicia Taylor. She was hugging fans in the front row. She hugged one of the security people at ringside. She hugged the ref.
3 faces of Bayley.
10 out of 10.
Bayley might turn back into a baby face or a heel, or they might be like in between.
This Saturday, live on ESPN, lots of stuff happened, and we're gonna talk about it right here. And the tournament that he created.
Let's watch JD from New York, the other podcaster who's in the chat. Let me show him.
Literally had it on for 4 hours. As I sat here watching Raw, I even had it on before dinner, and everything was working. I sit down to do the fucking show, and the fucking thing wants to crap out. You're a fucking piece of shit. I don't even know why I own you. $600 for a piece of fucking garbage. That's what you are. Ridiculous. I hate when things don't go right, when you know you got everything going the way that it should be going. Now I'm pissed off. Which should make for an entertaining review. Hologram, I would gladly sell it to you, bro, so I can go buy a new fucking piece of equipment, because this is a piece of shit. Never buy, this is a PSA, folks. Never buy anything the moment it's released. Never. That's what I did with this steaming pile of shit. You fucking asshole. Do I sound okay? Don't understand it. I don't understand why these things happen, bro. First and foremost, I want to send my thoughts and condolences and my prayers and my love, most importantly, to our man on Tuesday night, Monster Jason Solomon. He's dealing with a family situation at home with one of his relatives, and he was in the hospital. Jason wasn't, but his family relative was in the hospital yesterday, and Jason spent a lot of his day in the hospital with his family yesterday. Situation happened at his relative's home. If you guys want to go listen to the sound off, he talks about it at the top and what he's been dealing with. I just simply want to say that my thoughts and prayers and our thoughts and prayers from the OTS family are with Jason and his family. I told him yesterday if he needs anything from me, I would gladly assist in any way that I can. Brother, you are very, very important to us, as is anyone surrounding you, and we love you, and we hope everything works itself out. So, we love you here, bro, and we greatly, greatly appreciate you, as always. Thoughts and prayers and love to Solomon. Monday Night Raw. You know, I don't know how many more weeks chat I can take of the same main event every single week on this show. I am completely worn down. This is like Judgment Day version 1 all over again. Like Judgment Day version 1 all over again when they were feuding with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. It's like every fucking week it's the same main event. LA Knight versus Braun Breaker. LA Knight versus Bronson Reed. Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed. Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker. Jimmy Uso and LA Knight versus the Bronze. Jey Uso and LA Knight versus the Bronze. And maybe we get, if we're lucky enough, CM Punk and Seth Rollins in the mix, and we get a 6-man tag team match with the same fucking people every single week. Or maybe it's a fatal 4-way. Or a gauntlet match. Every single week, this show has the same main event every single week.
I agree. It's the same thing. They did this I think it was last year on SmackDown how it was the same thing with the Bloodline always closing out the show. And then in 2023, 2 years earlier, it was the Judgment Day always closing out the show with the same people. It's like the same it's like they can't come up with how to close out the show. The same people every week. It's getting repetitive, stale, lazy, same old shit. It shows you they lack of star power. They can only talk to the same people every week.
Something needs to be done. Are the only top stars on this show Seth Rollins and CM Punk?
Exactly, it's a problem. And sometimes John Cena.
Now you know how valuable Gunther is to Monday Night Raw. You see what the main event scene is deteriorated into without Gunther on the show. Yet this is the same company that has AJ Styles, who is a proverbial main event guy, feuding with something that is very similar and reminiscent to the Four Doinks from 1993. They got a quintessential main event elite performer in AJ Styles fucking around with Four Doinks, aka Four Americanos. And I'm not talking about the office's Starbucks order.
Yeah, don't know why you're complaining.
The one thing I will say in regards to tonight's show, they wanted to string along a 2.5-hour show-long story with Jey Uso and LA Knight.
Yeah.
Those are the types of shows that I'm more invested in than anything because it gives you a reason to watch. WWE knew that they needed people to stick with them. I don't know if that's going to be the reason why people stick with them. You know, Jey Uso and LA Knight. Oh man, let me go watch that over the Buccaneers and the Texans tonight on Monday Night Football. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. I don't give a shit, but many millions of people do. When the show has a show-long storyline weaved,
raising the next generation is a big job, but feeding them well, that should be deliciously simple. With Go Macro, there's a nourishing
the show is a better show. Maybe Tony Khan should take a fucking note or two instead of giving us 5 matches with no fucking reason why they're happening. I thought tonight's show was okay. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
If you thought tonight was a bad show, then you're just grifting, as the cool kids say on social media. It wasn't a bad show. It was a very entertaining show, very lively crowd in Springfield, Massachusetts. We got some very good matches on tonight's show. And the storyline throughout tonight's show is Jey Uso and LA Knight and the tension that is arising between them. Now Jimmy Uso is getting involved because Jimmy feels Jey is acting not like himself. LA Knight still wants payback for what Jey Uso did to him. LA Knight still wants a piece of the bronze, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. He can't go at it alone, though. So Adam Pearce tonight told him to go find a tag team partner. And he chose Jimmy Uso. Now, Jimmy Uso was put in a situation tonight where he also wants a piece of the bronze, but he knows he's getting a piece of the bronze in 5 days at WrestlePalooza on Saturday in Indianapolis. On ESPN, by the way, which WWE clearly let you know multiple times tonight. He didn't want to betray his brother, because Jay has a problem right now with LA Knight. So when LA Knight asked Jimmy to be his tag team partner tonight, Jimmy told him, no, I can't do that. You're going to get yours, I'm going to get mine on Saturday, everything's going to be fine. You got to go find somebody else, though. Then Jey Uso started ordering Jimmy Uso around tonight. And before Jimmy could tell him that he told LA Knight no, Jimmy was forcefully telling him, you can't team with LA Knight. You have to tell him no. Meanwhile, Jimmy's already told him no. Jimmy's being bossy. Jimmy's got a very one-track mind here. He's not thinking as a team. He's thinking as Jey Uso. So Jimmy told him, bro, your attitude is way out of line. I don't see an ulafala around your neck. Who the fuck are you ordering around the way you are? Then he went to LA Knight to Jimmy Uso, and Jimmy said, you know what? I'm going to take you up on your offer. I'm going to team with you tonight against the Bronze, against the Vision. So I did like the fact that they weave this storyline throughout the entire show. I thought it was something we haven't seen in quite some time with WWE. It's usually just random matches and very, very little story kind of thrown in there across the 2.5 hours. But tonight they really want to sell you on going into the pay-per-view. What are the tensions between the brothers now going up against the Vision? How is LA Knight going to factor into all this? We got the same main event. And in the end, LA Knight, he said everything was all right. Cool, shook Jay's hand, and then delivered a BFT out of nowhere, and LA Knight presumably teased a heel turn. Now, I don't know if the fans are going to really portray LA Knight as a heel immediately, but we did talk about this last week, and a lot of people were like, did Jey Uso tease a heel turn? No, Jey Uso did not tease a heel turn. Everybody was clearly and very much enjoying yeeting tonight in Springfield, Massachusetts. Jey Uso, there is no chance of him turning heel. Outside of CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, I mean, Jey Uso is easily, as a full-time guy, probably top 3 full-time. If you want to add Roman Reigns in there, who works part-time, he works 5 matches a year, he's definitely top 5 babyface in the company. LA Knight's on that list, too. But Jey Uso turning heel is a bad business move. The merchandise that he sells, the environment that he creates in the arenas that WWE could sell to an ESPN and a Peacock and all these different platforms. They don't want to turn Jey Uso heel. I don't want to see Jey Uso heel. I don't think anybody wants to see Jey Uso heel. Plus, the Usos just got back together. What good would that do? If anybody was going to turn heel out of the 2 here, it would be LA Knight, and that's apparently what they are teasing. It's not official by any means tonight, because we can turn around next week and LA Knight says, I got you back. We're going to be playing tit for tat here. This is just a war going back and forth, who's got the last laugh. It's going to take something a little bit more substantial for LA Knight to really solidify himself as a heel and no longer a babyface. So we'll definitely see what happens on Saturday, as I could see LA Knight getting involved, and we swing that door open definitely to one side over the other. But I did enjoy the show-long storyline with them weaved in through tonight's Monday Night Raw. The other big thing that happened tonight was CM Punk and AJ Lee. Final face-to-face with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I quite enjoyed myself. I thought that was a great segment. AJ Lee took a big manhandle slam tonight. First bump of her WWE return. This was after 10 years being away. Becky, she made a mention of reading AJ Lee's book. And she made a mention of what AJ Lee said in that book about her neck. How that neck is going to hold up. And the reason why she stepped away, one of the reasons why she stepped away was because of that neck. Becky Lynch obviously looked to expose that. And I do feel that's going to come into play on Saturday, which is a good storyline element. AJ Lee took a big back bump tonight with the manhandle slam, and then Becky slapped around CM Punk once again in a little troll job that the heels played on the baby faces, and that was a very good final sell for this great mixed tag team match that I'm very much looking forward to. I think the energy is going to be off the charts in Indianapolis on Saturday. I don't know where we go from here, but I don't want to say I know for sure, but I genuinely think that after what we see on Saturday, I do think that CM Punk could be taking a few weeks away. Because I don't really know what CM Punk does coming out of this. I do feel they need to keep everybody strong and at the same time have this move on into something else. Now, I don't know what WWE is doing as far as Crown Jewel is concerned. And this is what I want to talk about as far as CM Punk taking a few weeks off. I don't know what WWE is going to do going into Crown Jewel. If you guys remember last year in Saudi Arabia, when WWE had Crown Jewel, we had the Crown Jewel championships up for grabs. I don't know if that's going to be the case this year. Is that just a Saudi thing, or is that something that goes in line with these shows, these Crown Jewel shows? If WWE does Crown Jewel, and we see those Crown Jewel championships on the line, we could be looking at Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes for the Crown Jewel championship, champion versus champion. Again, I don't know if that's the case. As far as the women's championships are concerned, it should be Io winning the championship against Tiffany Stratton. We could see that take place in Perth, Australia. Rhea Ripley versus Asuka is something else that I would absolutely explore if we go to Perth, Australia, because Rhea Ripley undoubtedly is going to be on that show. Why she's not on WrestlePalooza, I don't know. What I'm trying to get at is, if WWE continues the tradition of the Crown Jewel Championships, this would give CM Punk a few weeks of respite, not needing to be on Perth, not needing to be on Crown Jewel, keep him off TV until the build for Survivor Series, and then he could lead his team of men against Seth Rollins and The Vision inside War Games. Just a little observation. Just a little observation. Now, I could be completely off base, I could be completely wrong, and we just go Rhea and Io for the championship, and Rhea wins the championship in Perth and becomes the new women's champion. However you want to look at it, it is definitely going to be an interesting situation going into the Perth Crown Jewel show coming out of WrestlePalooza. JD, it will be champion versus champion at Crown Jewel. Okay. No, well, we don't know that for sure. I'm just sparking discussion. You guys do what you want to do with that information. I could be right, I could be wrong. I'm just giving you a situation. I do think that Becky Lynch is going to continue her feud with AJ Lee going into Perth, Australia, and I do think that will be the obvious direction for the Intercontinental Championship. John Cena. John Cena's last time ever in Springfield, Massachusetts. This is the only time WWE will be visiting Massachusetts on this final trek. In the last 6 appearances of John Cena on WWE television. Next week, we're in New York City, Madison Square Garden. I think that's the case. No, is that November? I don't know where they are next week. Who knows where they are next week? I know he's got one in New York City coming up as well. I think that's November. But John Cena was on the show tonight, and he cut his typical promo. Babyface promo, triumphant promo, hustle, loyalty, and respect. an explanation as to why Brock Lesnar attacked John Cena at SummerSlam. We got no explanation from Brock on Friday. He wanted to twerk and rip his pants in an awful segment with R-Truth on SmackDown.
Yeah.
John Cena got F5 the week before that against Sami Zayn. Sami got some damage as well from Brock. He was in the line of fire and took a straight bullet. There has been no effort at all to give us an explanation. Now, I still received messages and I still received comments and tweets. Oh, but JD! Shouldn't you do what he does? JD, he's Brock Lesnar. JD from NY062. Thank you for expressing how unintelligent you are, fellow Twitter virgin. Everything you do needs an explanation. The most important question in this entire thing is why? Why do you do anything? You gotta give a reason as to why you do something. Why do you make a cup of coffee every morning, JD? I don't know, man. I like it. It gives me a reason of enjoying the morning. I enjoy to do something in the morning, man. It's like a ritual to me. Instead of sitting here, I experiment and fiddle with my coffee, and I make myself feel useful. And it gives me something to learn. It gets my brain going in the morning. I write in my coffee journal what coffee I'm using, what settings I'm using to grind the beans, what setting I'm using to put into the machine so the espresso comes out the way that it needs to, what temperature the espresso's coming out, if I'm doing any pre-infusion, which means the puck gets wet before the actual espresso is extracted from the puck. For you coffee geeks out there. I write all this down so that when I use the beans again, if I want to buy them, everything is written in my coffee journal. Did you see how I gave you an explanation on why I make my coffee the way that I make my coffee in the morning and why I enjoy making my coffee the way I make my coffee in the morning? There's an explanation behind it. JD, why do you go to bed so late? I usually go to bed at 3:30 in the morning. Usually around 3:30, 4 o'clock. I don't get to bed after the stream is over. My brain's going. JD, why don't you get to bed at an earlier hour and wake up a little bit more refreshed? Why are you always tired? Because I opt to sit here after the stream is over and I play Destiny 2 on my PlayStation 5 for 3 hours before I go to bed. This is the only time during the day that I have to myself. Did you see how I answered that question? Why are you guys in my chat instead of in someone else's chat? Why are you watching my Raw review instead of watching somebody else's? Because you're entertained more so by my delivery, and you're entertained more so by my content, and you enjoy my chat, and you enjoy my environment. JD doesn't look like anybody else. JD doesn't sound like anybody else. JD's got the best visuals in the fucking game. JD's got some of the best sound in the game when it's fucking working. This is the best podcast live after the shows are over every single night. That's why we're here. You see how I gave you a reason as to why you're here? Why? Is one of the most important questions that a human being can ask of another. We got zero. Yet there'll be some WWE elitists, and there'll be some WWE apologists, the bootlickers, who claim that Brock Lesnar doesn't need an explanation. Why does Brock Lesnar go hunting in Saskatchewan for moose? I'm sure he'll give you a fucking explanation as to why he loves shooting moose and cooking that motherfucker on the grill. There's a reason behind everything, but WWE could not be bothered to give us a reason for John Cena and Brock Lesnar happening at WrestlePalooza. This is the same shit that I called Tony Khan out This is the same shit that I call AEW out for. So if you don't think I'm going to call WWE out for it, then you got another thing coming, man. You should go watch somebody else who's going to blow smoke up your ass. We don't do that here. Oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, it doesn't really matter. It's one of John Cena's final matches. It doesn't need an explanation. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does matter. You do know that we still didn't get an explanation why Cody Rhodes was attacked by Brock Lesnar 3 years ago, right? You think I'm going to let that one fucking go now? You think I'm going to let that one go now when the guy in charge supposedly is better than the guy that was previously there? Meanwhile, all I'm seeing is the same fucking shit. He'd rather promote being on Kill Tony than give me a fucking explanation as to why. He'd rather sit at a sterile, absolutely fucking shill of a corporate sit-down to announce to everybody that WrestleMania is coming to Saudi because this is what we do, he says. This is what we do. Clearly what you don't do is tell stories thoroughly. Because if you did, then you would have explained to me why this match is taking place instead of bringing another big name back for another fucking moment to counter-program AEW because you want to fucking drive them out of business. You see, even they have a reason why. They'll never admit it. Why is WrestlePalooza happening, JD? Because they want to stick it to AEW because Triple H, Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel, Mark Shapiro, and the rest of the fucking suits and ties over on the TKO board of directors, they want to drive AEW out of business because Tony Khan is single-handedly driving up the salary for professional wrestlers every single time Tony wants to pay someone else. That's why. DC. Even they have a reason why, as to why WrestlePalooza exists. Why WrestlePalooza materialized from fucking ash and dust 3 weeks ago. They got a date, they got a platform, they got a fucking venue, and they got tickets sold. And a match card. 5 different things they did in 3 weeks. But they can't give me an explanation as to why Brock Lesnar and John Cena is happening at this same show. Cut the shit, take the fucking WWE boot out of your mouth, and shut the fuck up. If you don't think you deserve an explanation as to why you are watching something on television, then you're a complete fucking idiot. I don't know why anybody does anything in life without the one very question of why? Why? Why do you wake up in the morning? Because you gotta go to work and fucking provide for your fucking family. Why? Why is Brock Lesnar showing up on September 20th to wrestle John Cena? What is his reason for attacking? We didn't get the answer why. All the people that claim we don't need a why, they live by why. Every single fucking day. Meanwhile, John Cena wants to show up for a waste of an appearance tonight to get everybody to chant, "Thank you, Cena," and say, "I'm not afraid of John." Actually, he is afraid. He did admit he's afraid of Brock Lesnar, but he's not backing down from Brock Lesnar. Gee, that's great. We know that. Can you give me a reason as to why he attacked you? You know, Lesnar's not the most eloquent speaker, but John Cena very much is. And even Cena couldn't even be bothered to give us an explanation. Thank you very much for joining me here on this Monday night. We're going to get into the rest of this show. Also tonight, Roxanne Perez versus Lyra Valkyria. The Grande Americanos seem to be running wild on Monday Night Raw. I don't know what the end game is for this. I don't even think Triple H knows what the fucking end game is. Chris Hoover, Hooligrim, get Chris Hoover out of the chat. Why am I screaming? Because this is my fucking show, Chris Hoover. I can do what the fuck I want on my show, Chris Hoover. Is that a good enough answer for you? Get him out. I don't allow virgins in my chat. Get him the fuck out. That's why. Get him out. Why am I screaming? me to sound? Do you want me to sound all Mickey Mouse like Denise and fake excitement? Do you want me to react like these fake reactors and react to everything that you see on television? Oh, man! Goodbye! Goodbye! Thanks for coming. You waited 2 weeks to chat in this fucking live stream. Now you're gone. Forever. Goodbye. 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 Chris Hoover is out of here! Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. You fucking baby. Lesnar, he asked yesterday. I don't know if this is going to be the fucking banger that was the Cody Rhodes match at SummerSlam or the banger that was Paris with Logan Paul. It doesn't need to go 30 minutes. A 15-minute fucking brutal, hard-hitting match. I'm looking forward to what they produce. Hopefully they make it memorable, because this is the last time that Cena and Lesnar will be wrestling one-on-one. Adam Pearce stood between LA Knight and Jey Uso in the next segment. He asked why they're fighting in a parking area. You see, even Adam Pearce asked them why. Why? He says they have bigger things on Saturday to focus on. Knight and Jey yelled at each other. Adam Pearce says he can't have this on the go-home show, and he can't have this go off the rails during one of their biggest weeks ever. Knight says he wants a piece of Braun.
And they shake hands ahead of their championship match coming up on Saturday. This was a good competitive battle between these two women. This was the best Kairi Sane match.
Try imagining a place where it's always safe and warm. Effort into those types of things. I don't. This guy was booked on a Friday night SmackDown that has fucking 2 hours of nothing. It's dead. I don't want to.
Hold on. Sorry, that was the other chat that I was looking at.
Thank you guys.
Oh, JD talking about Andrade. Already showing that earlier. Alright, let's see one of the podcasters.
Roxanne Perez. I know what you're doing, Roxanne. You're studying the AJ Lee book.
On Saturday. There was more drama, though, in the back after this. We weren't done yet, because Io was telling Asuka.
So we go into a commercial break. We come out of the break, and Perez is trying to get back at...
Let me talk to you. Here at the Slim Jim.
Hold on, there's no damn commercial. Hold on.
You want to channel your inner savage? Nothing to a Slim Jim. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Launching Roxanne Perez, JD. Roxanne is going to be fine. I don't know what you...
Right here, didn't hurt her. Of course you had.
Right? Because Asuka said she was going to be there. Now Io said, I don't want you there. I don't need you there. And Asuka said, okay.
That's why we got the outcome that we got. They got their heat back at the end of the match, which then led to Bayley coming back. Rodriguez attacked Lyra. Perez joined in and gave Lyra a pop rocks. Bayley ran out to make the save. Role model. Can you imagine we still now have to sit with that every week? Bayley's on TV now. We went away from it for a little bit, but now we got, once again, role model. She wiped out Rodriguez and gave Perez a
Bayley to Belly. That was her old finish. I actually prefer that over the roast plant. Crowd was happy to see Bayley. They gave her a full-blown babyface reaction. Bayley showed up as a babyface and took care of the heels to save Lyra. And then all of a sudden she like transformed into this stern, very serious demeanor. She stared at Lyra, she snapped out of it, and like this, she went right over to the commentary team, gave Joe Tessitore a big hug, she gave Corey Graves a big hug, Alicia Taylor a big hug, and a bunch of fans she was meeting and greeting by ringside. This is the first confirmation that we got that Bayley is absolutely undergoing a split personality disorder. She has now lost her mind. Everything that has happened, the losses, missing WrestleMania, having the IC title ripped from her, everything has driven Bayley into the insane asylum. She is now insane. It's crazy. And I'll tell you what, from the segment that we got later in the show, I said on social media, if this is the direction that they're going with Bayley and we're going to get fucking insane asylum Bayley, and she's going to be off the fucking rails, you don't know what Bayley's going to show up, this is going to be the most entertaining gimmick in the entire division. And I love the fact that she is so hell-bent on being a heel, but it's got to be different than what we saw previously. She owns the last heel gimmick that she did. And if Bayley's going to adventure and do this thing, I feel like she's going to fucking knock it out of the park. If she did the last heel run as great as she did, she's going to knock this out of the fucking park. So we don't know what's going on. Lyra was confused as all hell. And Bayley, she came out there as a babyface, got angry, and then snapped out of it and became babyface Bayley again in a span of 90 seconds.
I don't
Throw the Roxanne Perez. Oh, she's getting buried, JD. They got their heat back. They put Lyra into the ground, pop rocks by Roxanne. They got their heat back at the end of the match, which got Bayley involved, and Lyra and Bayley will probably end up battling the Judgment Day. And it's going to be interesting to see how Lyra and Bayley react. And it's going to be interesting to see how Lyra sees firsthand that Bayley is slipping into fucking insane. Who knows what version of Bayley we're going to get? This is the three faces of Foley, basically. She's going to come out as Hugger Bayley. She's going to come out as whatever she was previously. And she's going to come out as insane heel Bayley, calling everybody a stupid idiot. Ding dong! Hello! Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be great. Basically going to be her Dude Love, Cactus Jack, and Mankind. Without the mask and the flannel. Remember Dude Love's theme music, man? That was great.
Then what? Shut up. Yeah, you are.
Adam Pearce. He met with Io Sky and Stephanie Vicaire. Oh man, we got a lot of Stephanie on this show tonight, bro. You know when there's a lot of Stephanie on Monday night, that it is a thumbs up show, bro. Just saying. You know what I'm talking about, Sidro, right? Thumbs up show, no doubt about it. When that woman is on the show. He made their world title match official. Supposedly, there was a rumor going around that
If you're an illegal alien, this runway is your future. Because you're headed home. I'm Christy Nome.
And I've seen her all over social media. And she's a part of the NXT Homecoming show. It's happening tomorrow at Full Sail University.
Yeah, you are.
Supposedly, she was away because she's been brushing up and learning
You're fucking him.
her English.
Think I'm like
wow.
you.
Whoever
her tutor is. Maybe she should,
No, you're not.
pass that off to Andrade.
No, you're not. Because you're going to get killed. Yeah.
Asuka and Kairi Sane barged in while Io and Stephanie were backstage with Adam Pearce. Asuka got in Stephanie's face and told her she wasn't ready for Io.
Yes, he said that.
Whoever did Asuka's face paint tonight deserves a raise. Her face paint looked fucking fantastic. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a centipede or a dragon. I don't know. It went all over her face, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you look at Asuka, the way you saw Asuka tonight, you know that that woman is also being driven into the insane asylum. Asuka's turning to the dark side. Her face paint was fucking fantastic. Stephanie told her to get out of her face, so Asuka told Stephanie she would face Kairi tonight. Kairi was surprised to hear this, but she was ready for Stephanie. Adam Pearce made it official. I'm enjoying evil Asuka. Asuka's just a... and Pay Pandy, yes. I was just going to say that. Asuka is a badass. Yes. I love this evil Asuka. LA Knight. He's in the locker room. Next segment, we saw him meeting with Jimmy Uso. Jimmy didn't think it was a good idea for them to team up. Clearly not, because if you did team up with LA Knight, it would be a problem for you and your brother, and you don't want that.
Do you understand? Get the fuck.
He told Jimmy that he chose him as his partner tonight. LA Knight says he has a lot of reasons not to trust anyone in his family, but he was there for him last week, so he trusts him.
Yeah.
Jimmy says he's putting him in a tough spot. He said that he and Jay got their chance on Saturday. LA Knight has to go find someone else if he wants to take care of the vision tonight. Kofi Kingston. He went one-on-one with Penta. You know, we talk about AEW and them putting the learning tree on television when they were on television week after week after week in multiple sometimes the learning tree got 3 or 4 different segments on Dynamite. They wanted to drive you criminally insane. I don't know. You look at the Chris Jericho vortex, nobody wants to be stuck in that. Everybody that got sucked into that vortex did not come out the same person. They came out worse than they did going into it. Penta is in this New Day vortex. And I don't know what we're doing, and I don't know what the end goal is. What is the end goal here? What is the end goal for Penta and the New Day? They wanted to outlaw, they wanted to ban, they wanted to petition that you can't do it. The Canadian Destroyer or the Mexican Destroyer, they wanted it outlawed. Pile drivers aren't allowed in WWE, but Penta does one every fucking week. I guess it's who you know and who you are. We gotta get Penta out of this vortex, bro. I mean, I don't know what we're doing. This guy should be on the rise for an intercontinental title, bro. I hope that's the vision. I hope that's the direction after all of this is over. The New Day, when the New Day is serious, there are no teams better than the New Day, bro. They are so good. But whatever this version of the New Day is, it's almost as if they don't care anymore. They are operating as 2 guys that just don't give a fuck. They're out there dressed in black every week, still mourning over the death of the tag team titles. You got more to worry about than the fucking tag team titles. The division's been dead well before you started wearing black, bro. Honestly. This guy's out there, Xavier Woods, wearing a fucking Kung Lao hat from Mortal Kombat. They're making sexual jokes and sexual innuendos. They got Grayson Waller out there for no reason whatsoever. What are we doing? exactly is the end goal here. So Penta went one-on-one with Kofi Kingston. This match went about 7 minutes. Kingston was in control due to a distraction because Grayson Waller's out there, Xavier Woods is out there. We go into a commercial break. We come back from the break. Kingston cut Penta's comeback off, hit him with an SOS. They trade strikes back and forth. Penta nails an Enziguri. Penta sets up for the Canadian Destroyer, but Woods distracted the referee. Penta super kicked Waller before he could interfere and chase Woods off the apron. Penta hits Kingston with a springboard Canadian Destroyer, which looked fucking great. And it really popped the crowd. They show replays of it in slow motion. It looked great. Penta wins 1, 2, 3. Another random match with no clear direction in sight. Penta gets his win back over Kofi, I guess. They wrestled 3 weeks ago with Kingston getting the win over Penta. So if you look, we'll go to cagematch.net and we'll look up Penta and what he's been doing on Monday Night Raw. His last couple of matches on Monday night. Look at that. Look at what they have Penta doing. Look at what they have Penta doing. Since the July 14th episode where he wrestled in a #1 Contenders Gauntlet match, which I believe was the right to wrestle Gunther at SummerSlam. That was CM Punk, Braun Breaker, Jey Uso, LA Knight, and Penta. From that point on, look at what he has done on Monday Night Raw. August 4th, he wrestled Grayson Waller. August 18th, he wrestled Xavier Woods. August 25th, he wrestled Kofi Kingston. September 1st, he teamed with the War Raiders against Grayson Waller and the New Day. Last week, he wrestled Rusev. And then tonight, he wrestled Kofi Kingston. You mean to tell me that they have a clear direction for Penta?
They don't.
If they got a clear direction for Penta, I'd love for somebody from WWE to fucking tell me what the goddamn direction is, because all I see is nothing but rinse and repeat, fucking New Day Vortex.
Same shit.
They broke up the monotony by throwing in a Rusev match in there. And this week, right back to the New Day Vortex.
This sucked.
Has WWE dropped the ball on Penta? It's a very subjective thing. Some of you might say no. Just give it time, JD. Some of you might say yes.
It's been
By the
8
looks of
months.
this, for the last 2.5 months, I'm gonna lean towards yes, they have.
It's been 9 months since he came to the company. He hadn't done shit. The same shit he did filler masters, remasters. Now Penta's not going after no title. He doesn't have a big feud that's interesting. It's at a point now where you might as well put him on SmackDown and have him team with his brother. His brother's not doing anything.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Whatever he's doing now is a lot better than what he would be doing on AEW television.
Yeah.
Facts. Factual information. I know the sickos don't want to hear it. Moving on. Oh, told you, man, I'm in some mood tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Jimmy Uso approached Jey Uso backstage. Jey was shown pacing while on a cell phone. Who was he speaking to? I don't know. Jimmy asked, "Who you talking to?" "Don't worry about it," Jey says. Jey told Jimmy that he has to say no when LA Knight approaches him about teaming up with him. The thing is, LA Knight did approach him. Jimmy already told him no. Jey didn't understand that because he was so upset about what happened last week that he's just ordering his brother around. He didn't even give his brother a chance to speak and tell him that, "Listen, Oos, I said no. You're too important to me. I would never do that to you." Well, Jey's over here ordering him All right, you gotta say no. You can't team with him. He's already said no. Jay hadn't heard what everyone else saw earlier. Jimmy didn't like Jay telling him what to do. Jay says it's all about family and what they have in front of them on Saturday. Jimmy says, I already told LA Knight no. But now I'm not going to be taking orders from you. Jay says he didn't mean it like that. Jimmy says he should change his tone then because the last time I checked, you ain't wearing no ulafala around your neck. Who was Jay Uso on the phone with? I don't know. Maybe it's the big dog. I don't know. Jimmy told LA Knight eventually backstage that after all that was said before, he's in. Yeah. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. To me, this was the best part of the entire show. Final face-to-face before this huge mixed tag team match at WrestlePalooza on Saturday evening, which I will obviously be live for. So make sure you guys are setting your calendars and tuning into the post-show immediately live after it is all over. It's going to be a busy Saturday. I got to watch All Out at 3 p.m. Then I'll miss the last hour of All Out and then immediately tune to ESPN to watch WrestlePalooza. And then catch up with All Out and whatever I missed in that final hour after WrestlePalooza's over. And I don't know when I'm doing an All Out post-show because Sunday is going to be tough. Everybody's going to be watching football. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll leave it up.
A commercial.
I'm going. They played the start of Seth's theme, and then they switched to Becky's theme. I guess they didn't want to sing along.
He'll be a world champion one day. The apron, he went for Jimmy. Jimmy kicked him off the apron, but that little distraction right there allowed Bronson Reed to grab Jimmy on his shoulders and drop him with the jagged edge for the win. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed victorious here in this main event. They have now established the jagged edge as another finisher for Bronson Reed to use. He's now used it to beat LA Knight and Jimmy Uso in, I believe, consecutive matches here. I've no issue with that. Save the tsunami splash for those occasions where he's going to win with it. So it's like one of those moves where when you get hit with it, you're not kicking out. That's number one. Number two, you could also just save it for those special angles where you want to write somebody off TV and just have him go up top and hit 2 or 3 of them or 4 of them and squash somebody and they disappear. But now he's got 2 finishing maneuvers instead of 1. I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to have some variety in your arsenal. Breaker speared Jimmy when the match was over. And Reed was actually about to go up to hit the tsunami splash. They hit Jay's music. He ran out with a chair. And then Breaker, he did the thing, which he never learns from, where he did some kind of appearance. It was just very basic stuff. And like I said at the beginning, it was very silly how you had Brock on television on Friday looking for Cena, even though Cena had told us he wasn't going to be there. And then him doing comedy with R-Truth. It's like, again, phoning it in. You look up the definition of phoning it in. That's what they've been doing with John Cena and Brock Lesnar ever since SummerSlam. Or at least Clash in Paris, because Cena had the feud with Logan Paul. But they've been phoning it in because they know that they can get away with it. They got 2 big names in the main event, and they can just coast on their names. And that's really all they're doing. Now, as far as WrestlePalooza, let me run through this card here. WrestlePalooza is this Saturday. It is 7 Eastern start time. Going to be on the ESPN Unlimited app. And because they rushed this deal, they still have not made a deal with YouTube TV. They have not made a deal with YouTube TV to carry this service, and they have not made a deal yet with Comcast to carry this service, among other services as well. Those aren't the only 2. This is awesome. Clamoring for the next Uncle Howdy match.
2 of their massive egos. He asked if they can be a happily married tag team, or will their egos just get in the way? Seth said Punk is the most selfish human being he's ever met in his entire life. We got a shut the fuck up chant aimed towards Rollins, which is great. I love a nice shut the fuck up chant. It's great. You know you're doing your job great when you get that type of heat. Becky yelled for them to show her hot husband some respect. He says they are the human incarnation of herpes. Seth says he was going to do something selfless that will hurt him and make the fans happy. He says he didn't want to do it, but he was going to do it. He says he was going to give Punk credit. He said marrying AJ Lee was the best decision he's ever made in his entire life. And then he says his personal life. Fans chanted, "No one likes you." So there was a lot of heat in this segment. Becky yelled at them again. She yelled, "I do, I like him." Seth says they can yell at him all they want, but he's still the world heavyweight champion. And then Punk murmured in the microphone, "Yeah, for now." Seth told Punk he will regret this for the rest of his days, bringing AJ Lee back into this. So Lee takes the microphone and tells Seth, "No, sweet cheeks, that mistake was yours." She said she wouldn't be there if he hadn't used his wife as a human shield. Becky said no one expected you to come back. She said Lee was gone for 10 years. She then said it was irresponsible of CM Punk. She said Punk only cares about Punk and my husband's championship. Becky said, "You know, AJ, I read your book and I took some notes." She asked how she's feeling physically. She asked how that neck is doing. Becky said she got into a blood feud because he took, or she told Punk rather, that he got into a blood feud because that guy, Drew McIntyre, took his bracelet that had AJ's initials on it, Larry as well, we can't forget Larry, that cutie Larry. She asked, "You got into a blood feud because of that. How are you going to respond when he's watching her punch his wife, AJ Lee, in the face?" She told Lee that she just isn't an asset. She's now a liability. Lee thanked Becky for reading her book, and then she says, "Thank you for reading my book, Becky. I didn't read yours." She did say to Becky that she made a good point, that she doesn't know how her neck will hold up on Saturday. So fans started singing AJ Lee in the European style that they usually do. This got a little overboard, a little too much, Springfield. We don't need European chants for this. Save that for Saturday in Indianapolis. Lee says it's been 10 years since I took a bump in this ring. She doesn't know what's going to happen. She said she skipped to the ring and saw Becky's constipated face, and she saw red. So then the fans chanted, "Constipated!" Springfield was largely a very good crowd tonight, but when pro wrestling crowds start doing that type of shit, it kind of leans into being a little annoying, and it's not really funny. But they paid their money. They paid a lot of money for these tickets, so I guess they can chant whatever the fuck they want, huh? She said it's not her neck she should be worried about. She said she won 2 titles with this neck. Seth says now they've gone too far chanting constipated, so he told the fans to shut up. Lee said that Becky is erratic and has been known to make a rash decision. "I am a Puerto Rican from New Jersey," she said. Gotta love it. Who doesn't love a spicy Puerto Rican from New Jersey? Lee said Seth made a plan and used his wife as a backup plan, but you cannot plan for something unpredictable. Seth started laughing. He starts laughing. He laughed at the notion that she thinks he can't handle AJ Lee. Seth says he can't predict her, but he can read her husband like a book. Seth said she might not want to hear this or believe it about her husband, but he has a nasty habit of leaving when things let him down. He said this very ominously. Seth said that this Saturday when AJ Lee is ripped to shreds by his wife, Becky Lynch, you better hope to God that he doesn't leave you too. Lee then slaps Seth. Seth says he won't put his hands on a lady, but he knows someone who will, so he used the CM Punk line. Becky was standing in the background, and she looked around playing stupid, and he asked Becky to retaliate. Becky wouldn't, and had some words with Seth. They argued, and Seth said, "You're blaming me for this? This isn't my fault, this is your fault." Becky stormed off yelling, as she exited the ring yelling at her husband, saying, "You got us into this." Seth took a shot at CM Punk, he pie-faced him, and then he left the ring. Seth took a shot, left the ring. Becky, meanwhile, comes around back to the ring, gets in the ring, and delivers a manhandle slam to AJ Lee. Becky got in Punk's face, slapped him around, and Becky left along with Seth as they played both of them in this nice little troll job, this little plan before WrestlePalooza. So they wanted to get the first attack on AJ and CM Punk. They very well did that tonight. And now the story is AJ Lee's neck. What is CM Punk going to do? How is he going to react that they finally put their hands on his wife and now target the neck? It's going to be a very interesting situation. I thought both couples played off each other very well. I thought the dynamic was great. Adding Becky Lynch to this has been great. Adding AJ Lee has been a great compliment to Becky Lynch. And it's only taken this to the personal level that it needed to be, because it was getting a little stale between Punk and Rollins. If the wives are going to add that level of personal feeling to it, I'm all for it. There's not many people that can say Becky and AJ are your significant others and have them play off each other in this feud, which right now is the biggest feud for WWE in the entire company. I thought this was great. Looking forward to the match on Saturday. Should be interesting to see how they handle everything coming out of WrestlePalooza. Is Punk going to take some time off? I would love to see Rollins put his hands on AJ Lee. I'd love to see Rollins give AJ a curb stomp, to be honest with you. I am open to that scenario. I do think something like that needs to happen. Whatever happens here, Rollins needs to walk out of this with the most heat on him, maybe ever. And for him to do that to AJ Lee, man, you are setting this man up for a very fruitful and heel-perfect.
Here's why you should drink more single-origin coffees. These coffees tell a story. Coffee, like wine, reflects a sense of place. Our single-origin coffees are what we...
He interviewed Dominic backstage. Dominic is the new AAA Mega Champion. He beat Vikingo at Worlds Collide. I did watch the match, overbooked as usual, but entertaining nonetheless. He asked about the relationship between him and El Grande Americano. Dom told him not to worry about it, called him sweetheart. He is now the Mega Champion and also the Intercontinental Champion, so you can call him the Mega Intercontinental Champion. There was some commotion off in the distance. Camera turned and saw Waller and Xavier attacking Penta backstage. So, the New Day fled, and the War Raiders showed back up to check on Penta. The vortex continues. Unfortunately. Speaking of El Grande Americano, we got El Grande Americano and Dragon Lee in a one-on-one match tonight. This was probably the best one-on-one match, probably the best wrestling match of the entire show. Loving El Grande Americano. Loving the work that Kaiser's doing. looks entertaining. I don't really understand it. I don't understand why they chose him of all people. But he wasn't doing anything anyway. They broke him away from Gunther. He was floating around backstage in the middle of nothing. All of a sudden he puts on the mask, and he's just fucking killing it. Can't complain. I do wonder what's going to happen with Chad Gable when he does come back. Is he going to start wearing the mask of El Grande Americano again? I don't know. Speaking of which, I need to find a proper stream to wear the rest of the masks that I promised you. I have Grande Americano, Rey Fenix, and Penta. We have 2 masks down, 2 of the 5 down. We got Hologram, and we got the All-In mask that I wore during the All-In stream, which was itchy as fuck. But we did it. I had to take it off before the Super Chats, man. I was just going crazy. So we gotta come up with a certain day. Maybe Halloween. Maybe we'll do one for Halloween. How about that? And we'll figure out the rest as we come along. So, Dragon Lee used a leaping Hurricane.
I probably should end the video. I made this long enough. It was a lot longer than SmackDown last night because there was a lot more to talk about. While it was a good show, there were some good matches, storylines developed. A pretty decent go-home show for WrestlePalooza. I will do my preview and predictions for AEW All In and WrestlePalooza on Friday. And I'll do a live stream for WrestlePalooza on Saturday. And I think I will talk about AEW all out. Yes, we got a lot. I think I will watch football. So I think I'll end my live stream. Make sure you guys hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, thank you for all the support. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.